These early encounters equipped him with the austere demeanor and physical tenacity that would eventually characterize his on-screen persona. Bronson joined the U.S. Army Air Forces and worked as an aerial gunner during World War II. He received decorations for his service and flew in combat missions in the Pacific Theater. In addition to toughening him, this military experience gave him perseverance and discipline that he would use in his acting career. Like many young men in his generation, he gained the quiet power and focus that became his hallmark from the war, which also changed the way he saw the world. Following the war, Bronson started experimenting with acting and eventually attended the Pasadena Playhouse in California to study under the GI Bill. In a field where polished leading men predominate, his rugged appearance, accentuated by his sharp cheekbones, piercing eyes, and taciturn demeanor, made him stand out. He first found employment in supporting parts, frequently playing soldiers, thugs, or villains. His early on-screen roles included cameos in movies like 1953's House of Wax and 1954's Apache. His reputation as a trustworthy character actor was progressively enhanced by these little jobs, and soon he was also making steady work in television, making appearances in hit series like Bonanza, The Twilight Zone, and Gunsmoke. When Bronson started starring in action and war movies that emphasized his gruff, no-nonsense character, it was his big break. The Great Escape, 1963, in which he played the cramped Polish prisoner Danny the Tunnel King, and The Magnificent Seven, 1960, in which he played Bernardo O'Reilly. Valinsky solidified his standing as a talented and serious actor. Through these portrayals, he won over audiences all over the world by showcasing his ability to give normally stern characters heart and subdued intensity. Charles Bronson was a global celebrity by the late 1960s and early 1970s, particularly in Europe, where viewers were greatly captivated by his tough individualism. With his portrayal of the harmonica-playing gunslinger, regarded as one of the finest performances in cinematic history, Sergio Leone rose to legendary fame in films such as the epic Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968. He was memorable on screen because of his slender figure, worn face, and dominating stillness, which exuded mystery. His popularity in America peaked in the 1970s. When the Death Wish series debuted in 1974, Bronson capitalized on the era's concerns about an increase in urban crime by playing Paul Kersey, a regular guy who becomes watchful after his family is attacked. Despite the fact that many questioned the film's morality, the character became a cultural phenomenon, drawing crowds to watch him administer his brand of justice. He played the part again in several follow-ups over his career, securing a status as Hollywood's ultimate vengeance. In addition to his vigilante roles, Bronson starred in a number of other motion pictures, such as The Mechanic, 1972, Mr. Majestic, 1974, Hard Times, 1975, and The Dirty Dozen, 1967. Every performance shared the same characteristics of discipline, restraint, and subtle intensity. Bronson's strength came from his presence alone, as opposed to many actors who depended on ostentatious speech or overdone body language. Without saying a word, he could command attention with a clenched jaw or a straightforward expression. Although he progressively moved out of the spotlight in the 1980s and 1990s, Bronson continued to act as the years passed. After starring in the television film Family of Cops 3, he eventually withdrew from acting in 1999 as his health started to deteriorate. 3 marriages characterized Charles Bronson's personal life, and each one had a big impact on the man who became the movie icon. After World War II, he pursued an early acting career in Philadelphia and met Harriet Tendler, with whom he later got married for the first time. In 1949, when Bronson was still having trouble making a name for himself in Hollywood, the two got married. During those difficult early years when acting opportunities were hard to come by and the couple led a modest life, Harriet, who went on to become a radio talk show personality, remained by him. Their marriage resulted in 2 children, and despite the challenges of Bronson's work, they were able to create a life together for almost 20 years, even though he supported his family with a variety of odd jobs in addition to his acting career. But their relationship soured as Bronson's career took off in the 1960s and the demands of celebrity mounted. The couple finally made the decision to split up after years of attempting to juggle his growing fame with family obligations, and their marriage ended in 1967. Charles Bronson started what would turn out to be the most significant relationship of his life only a year later. He wed British actress Jill Ireland on October 5, 1968. She had previously wed Bronson's co-star from The Great Escape, actor David Macklin. Bronson and Ireland swiftly rose to prominence as one of Hollywood's most beloved pairs, frequently sharing the screen in movies like Love and Bullets, 1979, Breakout, 1975, and The Mechanic, 1972. They developed a solid family life together, and their chemistry was clear both on and off screen. Their dedication to creating a big, loving family is demonstrated by the fact that they adopted a second child in addition to having a daughter together. They were viewed as an example of dedication and fidelity because their marriage lasted more than 20 years, which is uncommon in Hollywood. Sadly, Jill Ireland's death from breast cancer in 1990 ended their union. Her passing devastated Bronson, who had been incredibly loyal to her during her sickness. Friends observed that he never really healed emotionally. Bronson didn't get married again until 1998, 8 years later. Kim Weeks, his third wife, was once employed by Dove Audio, a spoken-word recording firm. His marriage to Weeks was more private than his well-publicized union with Jill Ireland, and Bronson sought solace and company in his senior years. They had a close relationship, and Weeks helped him through his last years as his health started to deteriorate. Despite the fact that their time together was shorter than that of his previous marriages, the couple stayed together for 5 years till Bronson passed away in 2003. The gruff hero of innumerable westerns and action movies, Charles Bronson was never one to waste words. Known for his rough demeanor and steely on-screen persona, he frequently provided direct, succinct responses in interviews. However, he revealed some startling candor when questioned about the Hollywood actors he most admired. In addition to showing his appreciation for particular artists, the list he shared offered insight into his personal beliefs, which included tenacity, authenticity, and commitment to the art form. Bronson began by mentioning his co-star from The Dirty Dozen, Lee Marvin. According to Bronson, Lee was simply a soldier. He lived being a tough guy, not just a role he played. He had a weight that most performers can only imagine since he carried the conflict with him. You trusted him when he entered a scene because he had faith in himself. Bronson appreciated Marvin's straightforward acting style, his inability to sugarcoat anything, and his unvarnished presence, which frequently took over the screen effortlessly. Then came Steve McQueen, with whom Bronson had a well-known rivalry. Steve and I had our differences, but I respected him, Bronson clarified. His eyes were filled with that longing. He battled for every part, as if it were his last. He turned the camera into his ally and exuded an unfaked calm intensity, despite their renowned competition, especially when it came to leading man roles. Bronson acknowledged that McQueen's skill and charisma motivated him to do better. Clint Eastwood was the third actor on Bronson's list. Bronson respected Eastwood's capacity to manage his own career and establish a solid reputation as a director and actor. Clint was intelligent. He was aware of the audience's desires before they were. He was visionary and patient. He wasted no time in caring about popularity. All he did was labor. Additionally, the work continued. After years of playing supporting parts before becoming famous, Bronson looked up to Eastwood as an example of perseverance and creative autonomy. James Coburn, another tough guy actor who had featured alongside Bronson in The Magnificent Seven, was also mentioned. Coburn had a distinct style. He was relaxed, but the fire was visible underneath. You couldn't take your eyes off him when he was there, even though he didn't try to steal the show. That truly is talent. Coburn exemplified the kind of subtle strength that Bronson found admirable. Always genuine, never pretentious. Gregory Peck was another person Bronson held in high regard. Despite their infrequent professional interactions, Bronson had a great deal of respect for PC's moral character both on and off screen. Dignity was Gregory, even in tragic stories. He carried himself with honor in every position. He had the truth within him, which made acting seem effortless. That cannot be faked, frequently portrayed as a tough anti-hero. Bronson found in PC the pinnacle of Hollywood's traditional moral fortitude. He also mentioned Kirk Douglas, who he considered to be among Hollywood's most diligent workers. Kirk didn't stop. Every image he created was fueled by his desire and fury. If the part called for it, he didn't mind being rugged or unattractive. It is uncommon to have such bravery. Being attractive on film is what most men aspire to. Kirk wanted to be authentic. Bronson respected Douglas's unwavering enthusiasm and his courage in portraying imperfect people. Lastly, Bronson introduced Robert Mitchum, a man who, in his opinion, effortlessly embodied the essence of screen presence. Mitchum remained silent. He simply was. The hardest thing of all is that being authentic, being natural, and allowing the audience to find you rather than pressuring them. He possessed that edge and that mystery. More than anything, I respected Bronson for that. Mitchum's easygoing, almost lethargic manner was a mastery of effort rather than a lack of it. Evidence that the camera valued sincerity over showmanship. Bronson's pick of 7 actors ultimately exposed his own performing philosophy. He valued honesty above all else, as well as hardness, genuineness, and quiet passion. These men didn't rely on cunning or conceit. They performed their jobs with the same honesty, directness, and lack of apology as they did their lives. For an actor like Charles Bronson, who based his acting career more on his unguarded presence than his words, these 7 were among the select few deserving of his sincere admiration. One of Hollywood's most enduring and recognizable tough guy characters, Charles Bronson, died on August 30, 2003, at the age of 81. His passing took place at the famed Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, a facility frequently linked to the last days of numerous well-known celebrities from music, movies, and television. In addition to lamenting the death of an iconic on-screen persona, fans worldwide also marked the end of a period in which Bronson had established the gritty, stoic action hero for successive generations of cinemagoers. There was conjecture over Bronson's deteriorating health for years. Additionally, according to a number of accounts, he passed away from pneumonia and Alzheimer's disease complications. His official death certificate, however, told a somewhat different tale upon closer inspection. The document claims that those commonly shared factors were not mentioned at all. Rather, the certificate provided a more thorough explanation. Respiratory failure, which frequently denotes the body's last battle for air, was Bronson's direct cause of death. The underlying cause of this was the existence of metastatic lung cancer, a more advanced stage of the illness in which the cancer spreads to other organs and systems, impairing the body's defenses. 2 additional severe conditions were mentioned as contributing factors as well. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, is a progressive and crippling lung condition that is frequently associated with long-term smoking. Congestive cardiomyopathy is a type of heart failure where the heart muscle weakens and enlarges, making it less able to pump blood efficiently. These combined conditions depict a man who, in spite of his portrayal of invincibility on screen, had fought a protracted and challenging battle with numerous health issues in his last years. Off-camera, Bronson's body was obviously worn down by decades of physical strain and health issues, despite his reputation for leading a tough lifestyle and bringing intensity to every part. Therefore, his passing was not unexpected. Rather, it was the result of a protracted decline that many of his loved ones had silently observed. Following his death, Charles Bronson was buried in the serene and bucolic Brownsville Cemetery in West Windsor, Vermont, far from the glamour of Hollywood. This place, which was quiet, unassuming, and far from the spotlight, was a powerful metaphor for the guy himself. In contrast to the hectic pace of his work life, Bronson had found the peace and quiet he much needed in Vermont, which had served as a haven. His lifetime preference for simplicity over spectacle and his strong personal ties to the region were both reflected in the selection of this final resting place.